Throughout my time in university, my friend worked with me to not only help me better understand or have an introduction to this body of work, but to understand the relevance and the revolutionary nature of what's happening in Rojava and Kurdistan generally, and most importantly, why these ideas need to be better understood far beyond the bounds of our war and struggle here.
I heard about Sarakapo was when I learned a little bit about the Kurdish liberation movement in Turkey back in the mid-2000s when I was participating in the anti-war movement in the United States. But I didn't know much about his philosophy until after Occupy Wall Street, when I read a book called A Small Key Opens a Large Door.
I found some writings of Ocalan, and after some readings I found his ideas really interesting, and the more I read, the more I get interested and kind of excited on the situation in Rojava and on the change that the Kurdish people were like doing in these lands.
I admire about democratic and federalism is how it is not focused on nationalism. For example, in Raqqa, a lot of Kurdish blood was spilled because for this movement, it's not just about the Kurdish people. They don't free Kurdish areas from under the rule of the Islamic State and then stop.
What Sarakapo was able to articulate in terms of hierarchy, in terms of history, in terms of gender dynamics, in terms of oppressions, and in terms of a synthesis of ideas, this is the kind of message that for the vast majority of the human race that remains living in war zones and deeply oppressed, that this kind of message is poignant. And I think the narrative that the West and the media is playing out is that U.S. Special Forces and airstrikes and our Kurdish allies in SDF, but it has nothing of substance.
The philosophies of Sarakapo that are leading this revolution can keep society together, like to work towards peace, to work towards social justice, equality, and for a more ecological future.
It will be extremely difficult to fight this kind of forces like Daesh without the ideas that Ocalan was able to spread, because you couldn't really find the force that it's in the Kurdish people and in the allies of the Kurds, of the people living Syria, who they take a stand and they took the weapons, and with ideas and with a weapon they fought Daesh.
Nasty, violent, reactive things that Daesh is just one of in the world, created by external powers and so barbaric, can be countered so quickly and effectively by things that are feminist, things that are equal, things that embrace genealogy, things that embrace cooperative economics. And I think that the sooner that the West, and more importantly the rest of the oppressed world, realize that the defeat of Daesh is directly tied to democratic federalist ideas and not to more guns, more Western support, better, bigger propaganda. The reason Abdullah Ocalan is treated the way that he is because he hasn't sold out in the way that many other revolutionary leaders have.
The Turkish regime has gone out of their way to isolate Sarakapo, to prevent him from spreading his ideas and ideals, because they feel threatened by grassroots democracy, by equality of men and women.
The forces understood that his ideas are dangerous because they are revolutionary, because his ideas, if they would spread, they would make people to to take consciousness and fight for a better life, which is not something that capitalist society allow to the people.
But if this falls, if this is snuffed out, if everyone's back in the mountains for another 100 years or more, then capitalist modernity will take and eat and grow so much that we will no longer be fighting for our freedom. By that time, we'll only be fighting for our survival.